back at Investor Town Hall's headquarters in San Diego, California. I'm your host, Daniel Wong. On today's program, we have a very special guest, the managing partner of GVA.Capital, Pavel Cherkashin, here with us today. Pavel, thanks so much for taking the time.
Hi, thank you for letting me in.
Well, Pavel, before we get into some of these other topics, I'd like you to give us a little about your background. You founded one of the largest digital advertising agencies, actually, in Russia. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I moved to Silicon Valley 4 years ago from Moscow, and back there I was founder of two large digital advertising agencies. One was sold to WPP Group, another was sold to Dentsu Aegis Group. And first started as a web design company back in late 90s, and then grew into one of the largest web design companies in Russia, and the other emerged into a big media buyer for large brands online.
And so what brought you to GVA.Capital? Being in Silicon Valley, being in the center of innovation, tell us about your role there and what GVA.Capital does for that particular market.
Yeah, I started investing through my own fund and as an angel investor back in Russia. And then I realized about 5 years ago that the market was very small for what I wanted to do, and all the innovation was actually focusing in Silicon Valley. And actually, it's a double selection. So if you have the best technology in the world, the best market for it in Silicon Valley. And the other way around, if you're not in Silicon Valley, then all the investors and corporate partners would feel suspicious about your technology because they say, well, if it's so good, why it's not in Silicon Valley? So I decided it's time to move, and I moved here, and together with my partners, we started GVA.Capital as a venture firm to do investments in early stage startups. So we were active for the last 2 years, did about 40 deals, and have close to 120 million under management now, and keep growing.
Outstanding. Congratulations on your success so far.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of buzz going around. You've been featured in multiple articles here about the Hack Temple. What is Hack Temple? Tell us about this, because this is a really cool idea.
Yeah, so when I moved here, I started to ask other investors around what was important to get known and to get accepted by the community. And what many of them said was that there's a lot of money on the market. A lot of investors come into the market with big checks, but they all want to do cherry picking. They all want to invest later stage in pre-IPO of next Facebook or Uber. And the investor is more respected if he's doing something for the community, like helping on early stage, doing acceleration, or helping entrepreneurs come into the market. So we decided that we need a place where we could help all of those entrepreneurs move to find the right investors and the right strategic partners. And suddenly we got this wonderful building that was empty for more than 20 years, and it was collapsing. So we bought this old church. It was a church of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Mexican church. But it was closed for already 20 years. It wasn't working. So we bought it out. We fixed the pipe organ, and we're now proud owners of the oldest pipe organ in California, unaltered pipe organ. And we're doing concerts there. We're doing meetups. We had TED Talks and a lot of other cool stuff going on there.
Definitely. I don't think anyone's seen anything like this before. I hear a lot of people come by and stop by to look at the location.
Yeah, and I think what we're doing there is very close to what religion was doing for the last centuries, and connecting people together, giving motivation, helping younger generation to develop into something meaningful in life.
So now that cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is becoming such a major topic for people right now, where do you see this cryptocurrency market going? Give us some insight of what investors should know about that.
Yeah, investors get extremely excited about this, and I think the hype is only starting. So there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of uncertainty on the market, like with internet in late 90s. But the long-term effect of blockchain technologies is going to be similar to what internet had to the world, just because it allows for a lot of markets to move from centralized economy where you have a dedicated market player responsible for controlling this market, either the regulator, the government, court. Now you can automate this, and you can have an independent third party which doesn't belong to anybody, but at the same time everybody would trust this third party with their digital signature. So that allows for a lot of new financial services, but also controlling any kind of assets and making investments easier, making sure that a lot of people who had no access to financial services or investment services now would have this capacity. So there's a lot of excitement about blockchain technologies across many markets, and we as an investor also look into this very actively. We target specific segments where blockchain as a concept, as a technology, could be more applicable and bring immediate result within the next couple of years.
Well, so you're working on something very exciting here. We're going to give our viewers and listeners here a little something to look forward to. So you're working, obviously, from the advertising space. You found that there's a $200 billion programmatic marketing part of the business that you can get involved in, and you've created BPC. Tell us a little bit about that and what investors can look forward to on the next interview.
Yeah, that's correct. This is, imagine one of the markets, one of the largest markets in the world. Only in the US, it's more than $200 billion. And it's now struggling just because there's no trust between parties. So you have advertisers on one side, you have publishers who provide space for advertising on the other side, and you also have data providers who give access to data that allows you to profile and to target those people properly with the advertising. And when you as a consumer go to any website, information about you is sent to the data providers. They build a profile. This profile is put on the auction among advertisers, and the winner gets the bid and show you the advertising. And all of this happens in less than 20 milliseconds, so while the page loads. So this whole process needs to be automated, and blockchain is the best capacity for that, just because it allows to trace all the information and all the data in between publishers, advertisers, and data providers, keep a trusted, auditable record of all the activities, so that it allows to eliminate fraud. It allows to have full transparency for all the participants to see where this data come from, where is it going, who is paying for what, and also on top of that, use what is called smart contracts. This is one of the coolest concepts of the blockchain that allows you to automatically process any payments and do the distribution between the advertising dollars and the publishers, and also any data providers or external analysts who contributed their knowledge to making sure this advertising is best targeted and properly work.
Well, Pavel, thank you so much for that. Pavel, thanks so much for taking the time with us today. We're definitely going to want to have you back on the show and hear more about BPC and what you're doing with that particular platform.
Thank you very much. We'll be happy to.
That was Pavel Cherkashin. He is the managing partner at GVA.Capital, and we're going to have him back on again this show soon sometime. But subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out our podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud, and we'll see you next time. Stay tuned for the next interviews here on InvestorTownHall.com.